When I was new in the sales training business, it's probably 17, 18 years ago, I was working for another company, working with another guy, and I was focusing a lot of my business on individuals. We had a great program that individuals would come and write a check, spend their own money, and get training. And it was something that, is for those higher performers or people that said, damn it, I'm sick and tired of where I am. I want to get better. And my company's not offering training. It's a lot like I do now. I just charged a hell of a lot more money for it back then. And I had a process that I followed, of course, right? I'm a process guy. And the first step would be that I meet with somebody, they decide whether or not they buy a skills assessment, right? They decide if they want to buy a skills assessment. If they do, they spent whatever it was, $500, right? And then the next meeting I'd go over the skills assessment with them. And then they could decide whether or not they wanted my help to fix some of that stuff that we said there could be better, right? If there was something to be better. And most of the time there were things that they were doing wrong that they wanted to be better at, right? Which is why they'd come talk to me in the first place. So here was the problem. I had a pretty good active business in Greenville, South Carolina. Well, I'm in Columbia, South Carolina, which is about 100 miles apart. It's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, probably 2-hour drive up. And so if I talk to somebody on the phone, they agree to meet with me to decide about an assessment. I drive 2.5 hours up. I have an hour meeting. I drive back. If they said, no, thanks, they don't want to spend $500 on an assessment, then I'd burned half a day or a full day, some could say, right? And basically I was doing a lot of free consulting. It happened over and over and over again. One out of every 3 bought, but that was a lot of driving. And so I was talking to my friend, Matt Nettleton, who's an excellent sales trainer. He's in Indianapolis, Indiana now. Look him up. Matt Nettleton does kick-ass sales training there. He and I are great friends. And at the time he said, I was pissed off as I come back again from 3 or 4 in a row where somebody hadn't bought an assessment. And he said, why the hell are you doing that? Which is what he used to ask me all the time. And I would say, well, because it's what I know to do. And he said, well, dumbass, why don't you sell them the assessment while you're on the phone? I said, I don't understand. He said, have a conversation. Say, why don't we spend a few minutes and talk and figure out whether or not you should spend $500 on a coaching session with me. If at the end of the call, you don't think spending $500 is a good idea, we'll call it a no big deal. If you do, you read me your credit card numbers off the front of the card. I'll send you a link to an assessment. You'll take that. We'll meet, go over it, talk about what you're dealing with, and then you can decide if you want to hire me full time, right? So either they're deciding up front, or when you say no, it's fine, right? Just spend a little bit of money. Here's what we know, right? If somebody spends a little bit of money with you, they're more likely, right? They're more of a candidate to spend a lot more money with you. It's the first step. What I knew was if somebody wasn't going to spend $500 to hear my opinion, then chances are they weren't going to spend 20 times that to hear my opinions over a long period of time. So I was like, well, hell, it sounds like a great idea, Matt. I'll love to do that. Well, thank you for sharing that. So the first couple people I talked to said, no, thanks. I said, great. I saved myself 2 trips to Greenville. And the third person said, okay, sure. Gave me their credit card number over the phone. I sent them the link. They took the assessment. We met for a coaching session over the phone. They paid me for my program. The next one did it too. And then the third. And then somebody said no. And then somebody else said no. And then I had 2 or 3 more. Point was, I was no longer driving to Greenville twice to see if somebody would become my client. So I called Matt and I was like, holy shit, dude, you are amazing. Thank you so much for telling me about this. And he said, what? And I said, having people pay me over the phone who don't know me will read their credit card numbers to me over the phone after a 15-minute conversation. That is amazing. He said, they do that? I said, yeah. He goes, I'd never tried it. I just figured you were dumb enough to do it. Right? Here's the thing. At the time, nobody that I was aware of in the organization was doing that. In our entire sales organization, entire whole national network, nobody was doing that. Only reason I did is because Matt said he was doing it, and he freaking lied. Now, I don't know what's going on in that organization now, but pretty soon, within about a year, that became standard practice. Here's what you do. You sell the coaching session on the phone first before you meet about the rest. So what changed? It was the mentality. It was the belief that, of course, you should be doing it this way. Of course we should. Why would we waste time with people that weren't willing to spend a little bit of money if we wanted them to spend a lot more money down the road? They could still say no at the end of the first thing. They could say no before the first thing. But why am I screwing around with people that aren't willing to spend a little bit of money? And I want you to ask yourself, why are you screwing around, giving away free consulting to people who may not be willing to spend the right amount of money to hire you the right way? When's the time to fix that? Now. Who may be able to help you with that? Me. I'm Walker at No BS Sales School. Email me, walker@walkermckay.com. Let's have a conversation, see if I can help you with that.